what is the drip bar and why did you start it?
Yeah, so the drip bar is an IV vitamin therapy place. It's also a weight loss place. We basically do a few different things, but we focus on improving health through like holistic, mostly methods. So whether that's infusing your body with the vitamins that it needs, whether it's if your goal is to lose weight, and then kind of try to maintain that throughout. So I would say about half of our clients are IV therapy clients, where we get an IV started and we give them vitamins. The other half are weight loss clients, where we use weight loss peptides, things like semaglutide and tirzepatide, or even things like sermorelin to lose weight.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot of like things that people I think aren't really familiar about, like how all that stuff works. So how does some of that work? Like, do they have to come like every day? Is it once a month? Like, what is it, like the frequency, and why does it work that way?
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit different from person to person. I would say the vast majority of people can get what they need, even doing it once a month.
Yeah.
I would say optimal is twice a month. Like a good maintenance plan is once a month.
Yeah.
But you can do it more often if you need it for a specific reason. So, one of the nice things about the drip bar here is we're all medical. So we have, a doctor, a PA, some nurses, so we can guide people how often they need something based on their specific needs. But if you're like a general healthy person looking to just optimize your health, I would say once or twice is perfect.
Okay.
But we can do it differently too.
Yeah. And now, is that something that people will stay on long term, or is the idea that they can wean off of it? How does it work? Like, if you're
I would say with IV therapy, I would say you want to stay that on long term. Your body always needs vitamins, so it's always using up what we're giving you, and you just need to keep replenishing over time. It's no different than taking like an oral vitamin, except an IV achieves much better, in terms of dosage, and avoid when you get something IV, it's going straight to your cells. So you're getting 100% absorption essentially, which is kind of nice. That doesn't happen when you take oral vitamins. But just like oral vitamins, you can't just take it for a month and expect results forever. So IV, you just gotta you'll see better results, but it's going to have to be something that you do consistently to see optimal results.
Okay. Because I know that's a big thing right now with like the Ozempic and all that stuff. So I guess, is that like along the same lines, or how does it?
So the weight loss is a little bit different. I would say those ones you can definitely wean off of, or even just come off of if you want to. So you kind of help people reach their weight loss goals with those GLP-1 drugs, and then even IV vitamin therapy, like improving metabolism and things like that. And then it's their option once they're at their goal weight. They can either continue long-term, what we call a maintenance plan. So they just do injections less often just to help maintain the weight off. Some people choose to wean off and then try to maintain with diet and exercise, which is really fine. And then some people choose to stop and just maintain with diet and exercise, which is fine as well.
Yeah.
So we always, we start with the, weight loss until we reach their goal. And then after that, we kind of talk to them about if they want to do a maintenance program or come off of it.
Okay. And so then, since you guys have like all medical staff here, do you work with providers, or do people need a referral to come like do some of this stuff, or how does all that?
Yeah, that's one of the nice things is you don't need to have a referral from your doctor or anyone else. We are the ones that will, guide you along the way. So you can just come in, and then we, if it's something that needs a medical consultation, that's a little bit more detailed. For example, like we work with people with cancer and things like that, and we will do that. If we need to get blood work, we can even do that here. And if you're just a general healthy person looking to do something on a regular basis, you can just come in and do that anytime.
Yeah. How do you work with someone with cancer? Like, what are you doing to help them?
Yeah, so we have high dose vitamin C. I don't know if that's anything you've heard of or not. High dose vitamin C is it's becoming more and more popular now when it comes to that. But essentially, the idea behind it is when you give high dose vitamins, when you give vitamin C in high doses through an IV form, then you can get the plasma levels of vitamin C to a level where it becomes a peroxide. Vitamin C in its normal dosing, the ones that we take on a daily basis or the ones that you get through food, has an antioxidant effect. It helps with like immunity and other benefits.
Yeah. What are some things that people are usually concerned about, or when they first start or try their first one?
Yeah, I think I don't blame people for being kind of nervous or whatever, because it is a newer idea.
Yeah. Definitely to this area. I feel like out in California.
Yeah, it's very
So
I mean the IV therapy's been around for decades. It's not new. Dr. Myers, which is, he came up with the Myers cocktail that's been around for, probably, tens of, it's decades, like I said. But so it's definitely, something that's not like new. It's just more popular and new in this area. So it has a very high safety profile. The Drip Bar has very high safety standards. So I mean, they have their own research and development team with doctors and pharmacists and all that kind of stuff that come up with safe formulations. We have, again, the sterile head where we mix all of our bags. So, you're getting a very clean IV bag. And, compared to, like, for example, when you go to the ER and get an IV started, there's nothing different than that. If anything, actually, we have, probably to an extent, the sterile head is a high standard there. In the hospitals, they use the same thing when they're mixing medications and things like that. So it's not a different thing there. So it's definitely, very safe. We're not giving you anything crazy. It's just some vitamins.
Okay. And so then I guess you have quite a lot of experience working with different populations. Like, what's your favorite kind of population to work with when it comes to that?
I mean, I don't know that I have like necessarily a favorite. I think there's different needs for different groups of people. So, like I said, you have the general healthy person that's just looking to optimize themselves. They're busy, they want better energy, they want to not get sick all the time, things like that. So when you're doing drips for immunity or energy, it really helps out.
So I lived in Charlotte for 4 years, and a lot of this kind of stuff was all over in Charlotte, where I feel like here in West Michigan, like, it's popping up, but it's not necessarily mainstream yet. Like Drip Bar. So how is it different than other Drip Bar, or not Drip Bars, but other IV type places, things like that?
So me and my brother are the ones that decided to open this, and then when we were looking at different, franchises and things like that. The Drip Bar really caught our attention because of their safety profile. I mean, the fact that they have a research and development team that comes up with formulations and things like that. Also, the fact that we use, a lot of different safety standards to make sure that everything we're doing is very, very safe. That is really what got our attention towards the Drip Bar. So one of the nice things is, like, you might go somewhere and you might see a lot of these places, and some of these places will be, good. There's no doubt, but there's also a lot of IV places that might not be that great. And here at the Drip Bar, the quality of the things that we use are high. We only use US-based FDA approved pharmacies, so that, you're getting, things that are tested and, not just some random diluted thing. We dose all of our drips very, very good, in comparison with other places potentially out there. When you get an IV drip here, again, like, the consultations, the medical staff, the experienced ER nurses that we have on staff, all of that kind of adds up to the experience. So we try to make it, to where people are very comfortable when they come in. Like you said, people are sometimes a little bit nervous or skeptical, but once they try it once, they see, okay, this is legit.
As I said, I think I was telling you before, I got my first time, like, I was feeling unwell and sick. And the next morning I was like, I've never been so awake at 5 a.m. after. But it was pretty seamless. Why did your brother and you start this, though? Because you're both in the medical field. So what was the reason to shift into this as opposed to stay working in your typical?
So traditional medicine is great. It's got a lot of good things, and there are some things that are definitely missing from it. This is one of them. We don't focus on a lot of this kind of therapy in traditional medicine. The traditional medicine, like I said, it has a lot of its own great parts, but I think if you start to combine traditional medicine along with this type of holistic medicine, then you start to achieve, like, way, way better results. And that was one of the things that like he's been in the internal medicine world for over 10 years. I was in ER for 8 years, and learned a bunch from that. But there was a lot lacking, and I always give a couple of examples. Like, for me, at least, like in the ER world, if somebody, for example, came in with influenza, we usually don't start an IV, give them a dose of vitamin C to try to get them feel better with some zinc and things like that. One, it's for an ER, that's time consuming, so it's not ideal. But if you start to give people something like, an IV bag of vitamin C and zinc, you'll be surprised how quickly they start to feel better compared to not doing it.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of stuff that's just kind of like, lacking in the traditional medicine world.
Sure.
Now there's definitely, again, a place for traditional medicines.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Combine it with holistic stuff and vitamins and make sure that you're not to pick it.
Yep.
And you'll see a whole new view.
Yeah. No, yeah. I feel like that's trending that way, where it's just being this shift where a lot of people are, healthcare and, the cost of it all is just getting so overwhelming, and people are starting to try to be preventative.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, we have to remind ourselves that like we have a fantastic healthcare structure with the hospitals and the doctors and the nurses, and I wouldn't want to get care anywhere else.
Right.
But at the same point in time, it is designed to, for catastrophic incidences and to make sure like keeps us going.
Yeah, I mean, our medical system is definitely, it's good. There's no doubt about that. But there's a lot of it when you start to incorporate, deficiency, basically like addressing deficiencies in the body, making sure that you're, like you said, more preventative than anything else. Then you really start to see big changes. You don't want to wait until you have a catastrophic event, like you want to do things beforehand.
Right.
I mean, I can tell you, like for myself, I've been doing drips twice a month for about a year and a half now, and my health, I mean, definitely noticed a huge difference, whether it's, like energy, focus, being able to, be at my top level, I guess, not have to, not feeling like I'm dragging all the time, getting sick less often, or if I do come down with something, I can tell like my immune system is fighting a lot more quickly. All those things make a huge difference from day-to-day life.
Yeah.
It's important.
Sure. I think it's fantastic, because I always ask people, like, how much do you budget for your health? And it's like, I understand we pay for health insurance.
Yeah.
We budget for our car, and we budget to put, oil in it and keep it running, and, because the better you take care of it, the longer it will run for.
Right.
And so, as you just said, you started, budgeting for your health, and then all of a sudden you're sick less, so you don't use your health insurance as much.
Right.
That means you can work more, which means you're more productive, which means you ultimately make more. And so it's just like you turn it on its head of if you start to invest a bit into yourself.
Yeah, and I always tell people, like, I mean, if you prevent one ER visit, by doing some good things to your body, I mean, that'll pretty much pay for, years of this kind of stuff. It's a lot more affordable than people think too, For example, like if you're doing a drip or two a month, the pricing point for that is considering that, you're going to probably not have to take a lot of the oral vitamins anymore and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're basically just substituting, essentially at that point. So it's a lot more affordable than people think. You just have to find, that half hour or hour out of your day once or twice a month to come in and get a drip.
Yeah. Well, and efficiency too, because as you say, the vitamins and all the things you take gets, absorbed by certain areas of your body, so you don't necessarily get the same effect. So,
there's a lot of factors to whether something gets absorbed or not, whether it's the quality of the oral vitamin, the encapsulation, whether your stomach acid destroys it or not. With IV, you completely bypass all that, so that part is huge. And for me personally, like when I tried to take a bunch of like oral different, I got into it, prior to this being, prior to opening this, I used to, take a bunch of different supplements, and I would forget all the time. Half the time I would throw away half the bottle, because when you have like 15 different ones to take, it's really hard to take all of them. So this is nice where you can just get everything you need in one session, and maybe 2 sessions a month if you're looking to be more optimal, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxing in here.
It is, yeah.
So
we try to make this completely different. Yeah, we try to make it like a spa, like day versus being in a place where you're getting a medical treatment, or like being in an ER where you're stressful enough. And you just come in here, you get your IV started, and then you're just basically relaxing in a cool environment with some music. You can have some snacks and drinks and things like that.
Okay. So that's how it works. Just someone comes in and says, I'd like a drip, and then bring it back. Like, is there anything else that goes on?
No, I mean, we can do appointments. We can do walk-ins. If you come in here, you walk in, you fill out a quick medical history. We choose an IV that fits your needs best for that day, and then we start an IV. The whole process probably takes anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how much fluids you decide to get. But that's it. You're done. You're on your way. You don't have to change anything that day. After you're done, you continue your life completely
It's not
normally.
like giving blood where you gotta be careful.
Nope. Everything resumes completely normally after.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Usually people feel a lot better from the hydration right away. So the fluids will make you feel better, but then the vitamins over the next, day or two will start to absorb in your cells and make a difference. And usually, like for example, you woke up the next day feeling a lot better. A lot of people tend to have that same result where the next day they feel more refreshed, more energized.
Sure.
And then from there, it's just a matter of maintenance.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I appreciate it.